Welcome back, everybody, to another Professional Picks NFL video. In this video, we're going to be going over each one of the games in week two and letting you know our pick and what we think our predictions for each game will be. Obviously, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video if you're enjoying it, and let us know in the comment section what you're picking.
Yeah, jumping right into it with the first matchup of the week. We got Thursday night football, the Buffalo Bills heading to Miami. AFC East matchup, both teams kicking off the season 1-0. Josh Allen really leading the comeback against the Cardinals, and the Dolphins picking up a tough win against the Jags. I thought their defense looked a little bit better than what I expected this season with some departures. I mean, obviously they still have Jalen Ramsey and some bigger names, but in this game at home, I kind of like the Dolphins -2.5 here. I think Josh Allen had to do a lot to pick up that win against the Cardinals last week. I don't know if I'm fully sold on the Bills yet this season or at all, but I like the Dolphins at home. Which way are you leaning, Wedge?
Yeah, it's really tough for me because I think, especially early on in this season, it's going to be the Josh Allen show early and often if they're going to want to compete in any given game until these young guys start to really get acclimated to this offense. I'm with you. I think the Dolphins win this one. Now, if they play this game even in Miami in week 10, I think it's a different outcome. But you saw the Bills let up some big plays and a lot of yards to the Cardinals. You think that this Dolphins offense can do that and more. You saw with these big chunk plays to Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Devon Achane last week. That's probably not going to change anytime soon. So I like the Dolphins here to win this one too. What I also really like is the over in this game because I would totally wholeheartedly believe in Josh Allen's ability to put up points almost solely by himself in this offense at times. But again, if I think he's going to do that and I think the Dolphins win, then I think it lends itself to the over here.
Yeah,
I think you see a lot of Tyreek Hill, a lot of Jalen Waddle, and that's just what this Dolphins offense wants to do.
yeah. I don't have a stat, but with the new kickoff rules, it feels like teams are starting better field position. I think the early overs, like at least generally, have to be doing pretty well from
Yeah, that's a good point.
this week.
I would love to know about that. Just one more point, the Cardinals put up 28 against these guys. The Bills are going to have to put up a lot of points um, to win games like they did. 60 two total points in last game. Now that makes it really easy in bias to take the over here, but I think you're going to see again some yards and some points for both teams here.
Yeah, no, I definitely see it with two better offenses than defenses. Moving on to the NFC, we got the New Orleans Saints heading in as 6.5 point underdogs after looking pretty solid in week one. It was against the Carolina Panthers, but nonetheless, a lot better than what I was expecting from them
Yeah.
in the opener, especially from Derek Carr. I thought last year he was really shaky. He kind of held the team back with how good their defense was. But he looked solid in the opener. We'll see if he can do it against a much better defense with the Dallas Cowboys as almost a touchdown favorite at home. I got burned on them last week, underestimated them and their weapons. Their offense looked great against a tough Cleveland Browns defense. I'll let you go first with your pick, Woj.
Yeah, in week one, I'm definitely selling the Panthers' performance much more than I'm buying the Saints' performance and buying into their team. I know they did look good. Um, they're going to be facing a much different team, both offensively and defensively, in the Dallas Cowboys on the road this time. You can't underestimate how good the Dallas defense looked in week one, especially the pass rush. They got pressure on Deshaun Watson and that Browns passing offense over half the time. This Saints offensive line is a weak, and again, that's against the Browns offensive line. This Saints offensive line has been a weak spot. They continuously spend first and second round picks to rebuild that offensive line, only to whiff on many of these picks. You're going to see Derek Carr under pressure a ton. I like the Cowboys here to win this game and to win it easily. I like this -6.5 here as well. I think this is a perfect game for a teaser because I truly cannot imagine with this defense, the Cowboys losing. You saw what they did last year at the beginning of the season where they just dominated and teams could not figure out their defense. I think that trend is going to continue.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they looked great last week. I can't go against them after they did. They should
No.
just be completely wrong. But all right, moving along. We got two teams in the NFC that made the playoffs last year. Starting off 1-0, took the Lions to overtime against the Rams. And once again, Baker Mayfield looked really solid, but they're coming in as a 7-point underdog. And in this game, I think I'm going to roll with the Bucks +7 on the road. I think they could put up enough points against that Lions secondary. A little young with the acquisitions. Terran, Arnold might take a little bit time to get going. I mean, Puka Nacua got injured early, and they really had to lean on Cooper Kupp. And I just don't think the Rams were a deep enough team. But I don't know. I think the Bucks can at least keep it within 7 in this game. Maybe not win it, but I think a touchdown's a bit much here on the road.
So you think Lions win, Bucks cover? Is that your opinion here?
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the same thing too. It's hard for me to look at a 7 point dog and say they're going to win this game on the road, but I'm with you. I think 7 points is a pretty rich line to give a playoff team last year in the Buccaneers, and a team that's already won their first game and put up a ton of points, albeit against a pretty lax Commanders defense. In week one, Baker Mayfield picked up right where he left off in the 2023 season, really facilitating the ball to Godwin and Mike Evans primarily, but he's been really efficient with the passing game. The offensive line, led by Tristan Wirfs, has given him so much time in the pocket to be able to pick apart defenses. And like you mentioned, this Lions defense and their secondary, particularly, is nothing to write home about. I too think the Lions should win this game, especially if it's a shootout. You're going to want to take the Lions over the Bucks, and that's what this total is implying. And honestly, I think I like the over too. But I like to see a good old-fashioned shootout here against two offenses that are clicking. Um, and again, I like the Lions to win this game at home. But coming off an overtime, very emotional win, teams are due for a letdown there. So that's another reason I like the Bucks +7. There's no value in actually betting the Lions money line, but if you're doing a pick 'em, Lions are the right choice.
Yeah. No, definitely. I'm with you there, Woj. Moving on, we got the Indianapolis Colts coming in as 3.5-point favorites on the road against the Packers. They're down Jordan Love. We're going to see Malik Willis, I believe, will be the starter for the Packers
So too.
unless they have
Yeah.
somebody else on that depth chart. I know they did require it in the offseason, but yeah, so I mean that's why we're seeing the Packers here as underdogs at home at Lambeau. Not a common occurrence, but this team has a lot of weapons. I know I was on the Colts last week. That was my one hit. So it's hard for me to go against the Colts, especially without Jordan Love here, but this is a tough game for me to bet. I like the Packers. I thought they put up a good fight against the Eagles, and at Lambeau, they're always tough. So I'm really indifferent on this one. The total is very low.
Who do you think wins this game?
Probably the Colts if I had to.
I think that's probably the right thing. I'm going to take the Packers in this game to win it. I think that while Anthony Richardson it's a stupid pick, but sometimes stupid things happen in the NFL. Home opener for Lambeau for the Packers at Lambeau. Low total, so one mistake is going to decide this game. Now we don't know how mistake prone Malik Willis will be in this offense, but I really do like the coaching they got in Green Bay with LaFleur. They got enough weapons to make some stuff happen. And while Anthony Richardson at quarterback is one of the scariest weapons in his own right, he's shown an inability to pass in the short game. Of course, he can make these phenomenal deep plays and really highlight real performances. But I think if the Packers can commit, this is my game plan, my game script for the Packers winning. They can commit to slowing down the run game a little bit and making AR take what the defense gives them in terms of eliminating the deep threat and making them be accurate in the short-term passing game. That's how they can stifle this Colts offense. Rely on your strong running backs, rely on your weapons at in young wide receivers, and find a way to squeak out a win here. I like the X's and O's and strategy side. I think that favors the coaching staff of the Green Bay Packers here. I certainly like +3.5, and I'm going to go on the limb and say the Packers win this one.
You're not afraid of Malik Willis ruining it.
You know what? He's the kind of guy that he could save you for one game.
Yeah,
Just because
it's,
he's
it's,
just so
it's
unpredictable.
they are.
He could just run for 100 yards, do some Lamar Jackson stuff. I think no, I don't think he's a great quarterback, but I believe that Matt LaFleur can juice a little bit more talent out of him than say a Mike Vrabel did in Tennessee. Those are two very different head coaches, and like everyone knows that I love Vrabel, but he's not necessarily the quarterback whisperer.
Yeah, no, that's definitely fair. This is a tough one for me to bet. I won't be touching it, but
No,
I
no,
like I
shouldn't
like
be.
the reasoning.
If there's going to be some upsets, and this is one upset I'm
Yeah,
going to take.
definitely. At home, it's always hard to go with a home dog, especially when the Packers have talent. Moving on, we have the New York Jets coming off the Monday night loss. Aaron Rodgers said he needs to play better. I was really disappointed in the Jets' entire performance. I thought the defense looked horrible. They were playing the 49ers, but the Niners were out McCaffrey. That didn't make a difference at all. Jordan Mason looked phenomenal for the 49ers in the backfield. But yeah, I expected the Jets to look a lot better. They benched Sauce Gardner at one point. At the same time, the sorry, what were you gonna say? What was
I
you?
was saying, I was looking it up before this video too. I couldn't like there was some controversy. Did he get benched? Was he sitting out? He said he lost his wind. I think it's still kind of up in the air why he was out in the second quarter. But keep going because you're about to talk about the Titans' week one performance.
Yeah, but at the same time, the Titans they looked great in the start against the Bears. We're Bears fans, so that was the game I was watching closely.
Unreal.
Will Levis blew it down the stretch, let the Bears defense win the game. So I can't bet on the Titans after what I saw
No.
last week. They had the perfect start and blew it in the second half. So this game, -3.5. I'm definitely with the Jets. They didn't look good, but I know that defense could play better, and I know Aaron Rodgers could play better than he did too on Monday night against a tough 49ers team.
Yeah, I'm with you, especially having watched all four quarters of that Titans game. I'm going to buy low on the Jets here. They're going to win this game. I think they're going to win by more than 3.5. I think this defense is going to absolutely shut down the Titans, who weren't able to do much, certainly not in the passing game. And you're not going to be able to run that much on this Jets team. I know everyone's going to point to the game on Monday night and talk about what Jordan Mason did. This is a 49ers team with a much better offensive line than the Titans have, with a much better personnel and much better schemes. The Jets had a lot more issues to worry about than Jordan Mason. If they focus all of their ability to stop the run, they will beat the Tennessee Titans because Will Levis and that passing offense looked pretty anemic against the Bears defense, which secondary is, fairly solid. But even with the success that the Titans were able to have in the run game, they weren't able to capitalize and put up more than 17 points, even though the Bears gave them multiple opportunities, countless opportunities to give the ball to the Titans offense and score. I think the
Yeah,
Jets have too much talent on offense here with Brees Hall. You saw a glimpse of the Rodgers and Garrett Wilson connection. I think the Jets win this one with some dominating defense and some good old-fashioned savvy by Aaron Rodgers. He's never gonna, I don't think he's the kind of guy that's gonna light up the stat sheet and throw for 400 yards. He just doesn't do that anymore, but he's gonna still at least he still has the ability to pick a defense apart. I truly believe that. He doesn't need to be Aaron Rodgers of the past to beat this poor Titans team, even on the road. So again, picking the Jets here to cover and win.
yep. I'm once again with you, Woj. Like the Jets, -3.5 on the road. Moving along, two teams winning their week one matchups. Got the 49ers beating the Jets, as we were just talking about. And then the Vikings pretty much manhandling the Jets, or not the Jets, the Giants.
G-Man.
Sam Darnold, I believe, completed his first 12 passes of the game. He looked really good in Minnesota. They are at home. They're almost a touchdown underdogs in this game. And a lot of new faces with Minnesota, but they performed well. Aaron Jones in the backfield was a solid contributor. The defense also was performed really well. The tough thing is they did play the Giants, so it's tough for me to really give this Minnesota team a fair assessment, although they looked solid in week one. I'll send this one to you first, Woj. Who do you like with the Minnesota Vikings is almost a touchdown underdogs at home?
Yeah, I mentioned in the Survivor video where I'm getting kind of some deja vu last year where I'm pretty sure was it might have even been in Santa Clara, but the Niners who were rolling were taking out a Vikings team. I thought there's no way a Vikings team can match up with the Niners team. And the story is pretty similar this season, and yet somehow the Vikings ended up getting the win that game. I don't see that happening this game, but doesn't it seem, Sliwa, that every inclination that you have tells you to take the Niners -6.5 after the way they just beat down the Jets? Everything tells you that that's what you should be betting because
Yeah,
they're just a better team by far than the Vikings. So I don't even know if I can't even say that I like the Vikings +6.5, but I know that I cannot bet the Niners -6.5. So I would stay away from any bets, but I'm picking the Niners to win this game. You'd be foolish not to based on what you saw Monday night. But short week on the road. I think a lot of expectations are high for the 49ers, and I think that's causing maybe the spread to be a little inflated. You cannot take away, no matter who's at quarterback, how many weapons that the Vikings have between Addison, JJ, and Aaron Jones. Um, it just sub like how did the 49ers not put up 45 points themselves this game? I don't know. But maybe that defense in Minnesota is a little bit better than we think, and we're just kind of piling on the Giants offense. Likely it's a little bit of everything I just said. But Niners win this game. I'm too afraid to take them in the spread.
yeah, I'd like it a lot more if it got to 7, but you're totally right with being a little bit hesitant with the Niners. I know it was only 1 week. The last year they started off 4-0, something like that, and then rattled off
How
a few losses. They're not going to be perfect as good as they are. So this could be one of those slightly trap games where they just dominated the Jets and looking like a pretty solid bet on the road against the Sam Darnold team.
It's so hard because I want to. It's Sam Darnold. He hasn't done well in his career up to this point, and he's probably never
And
played a defense as tough as this 49ers defense. How is he possibly going to succeed? I don't know. Um, I'm definitely not going to bet on Sam Darnold, but it just seems too juicy, and too almost too easy to bet the 49ers here, -6.5.
agreed. All right, moving on. We have Super Bowl matchup from a while back, but we do have the Seattle Seahawks coming in as 3.5 point favorites on the road heading to New England. And New England was just the biggest upset of week 1. They still have them here as home dogs. I don't want to say I'm sold on the week 1 win because there's still not a lot of weapons in New England, but the defense looked great. I thought Jacoby Brissett at least was solid enough.
And
But
we knew he would be.
yeah, but the real star was Ramondre Stevenson. The O line looked a lot better than it did last year for the Patriots. Enough to get Ramondre going in the open field. He dominated the shares of the carries in the backfield. But yeah, I think at 3.5 points, I don't think this Seattle team is as good as a lot of people believe they are. The secondary solid, but like I said, the Patriots are going to rely more on that run game rather than passing to Tariq Woolen and or against Tariq Woolen and Devon Witherspoon.
Whoop.
So yeah, I like the Patriots matchup here, but it could be an easy overreaction from week 1. What are your thoughts?
Before I go, what's your official pick to win this game?
I'm going Patriots. I
Thank
like
you.
them to win the game plus 3.5.
I like it. I think I would bet Patriots +3.5, but I'm picking the Seahawks to win this game. It's going to be such like you can see you don't get many games with lower totals than 37.5, even 38. I'm with you. I think this Patriots defense is going to continue to give teams fits. That's what their identity has been. That's Gerard Mayer, their head coach, his identity. But I still believe in the Seahawks with their ability to maybe get some chunk plays with guys like obviously DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and hopefully get Jackson Smith and Jigba. And then at running back, you see Kenneth Walker too. They just have the potential to do it. Um, and I think in a game where points are going to be so hard to come by, one big play might be enough to put you over the top because I don't think the Patriots have that big play in them. Now, obviously, the edge goes to the Patriots, and I think their Patriots defense. I mean, and I do think they're going to keep their offense and give them a chance to be in this game. But I'm not sold on the offense to do so. So I'm going to take the Seahawks to win this game. And I think it's a tough one to do, but I do not believe in the Patriots. They got lucky with a few untimely fumbles for the Bengals. I mean, they're a good defense, but they got lucky because of some of those fumbles. Um, and I think if you can just play mistake-free, turnover-free football, then the Seahawks win this game.
Yeah.
Not always easy to do that against a Patriots team, though. You know, it's
Yeah.
easy to say play mistake-free football. It's another thing doing it in Foxborough.
Yeah, exactly. The Seahawks did look pretty decent. Another tough team to rate against the Broncos, but going
Yeah,
against
it's
the
definitely
Panthers
too
here.
early to look at Pro Football Focus, but the Seahawks are the number one team in PFF.
Oh,
But
okay.
is that if you look at the PFF grades,
Yeah,
they're so messed up.
yeah.
Like it's not indicative of true talent right now.
No, very fair. All right, moving on. We have an NFC East matchup. Two teams that really had a rough time in week one. Giants, not even getting to double digits in that matchup. Malik Neighbors a little frustrated with Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones has more touch or more pick sixes than he
Yeah,
wants to
yeah.
sign his
Love that.
$160 million contract. Um, Jaden Daniels was, I mean, he played pretty well, honestly. He played better than Caleb Williams did for the Bears. Was
If you
very
owned him in fantasy like
offensively.
me, Jaden Daniels played about as good as you could have asked for.
What did he put up fantasy
Put
wise?
up like 28
Oh,
point something. He
okay.
was like the second number two fantasy quarterback behind Josh Allen. They both had two rushing touchdowns. They were lights out, both of them.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the Jaden Daniels, I think just with kind of the lack of talent between these two teams, or it's really hard for me to bet on the Giants with Daniel Jones and really how he's played over the last year. I like them. I was kind of on the bandwagon when they made the playoffs with the first year under Dable, but it's really gone straight south for me. And even though PFF rankings are early, um, the last 2 years the Giants have consistently been at the bottom. So I trust enough in Jaden Daniels. I think Washington at -1.5 here to win the game and the spread is my bet. What do you think, Woj?
I'm taking the Giants to win this game.
Really?
Yeah. Um, it just again seems like you saw what happened in week one. I guess you don't have to be impressed with what the Commanders did, but they put up some points, but they also let up 37 points to a
Defense is
Buccaneers
bad.
team. I don't think the Giants defense played horribly. The Giants offense played horribly. I'm going to take the Giants in a divisional matchup against the rookie, even on the road. Um, just don't, Daniel Jones, don't throw an interception. You know what? You can even throw an interception. Don't throw a pick six and don't throw two interceptions. I think that's all you got to do. This, like, we've seen flashes of the Giants and Daniel Jones being like, wow, okay, I guess they can do that. This is the defense to do that against. This is an awful, awful defense
Yeah,
in
that's
what the Commanders said. Like, you know how Daniel Jones has those games where he somehow rushes for like 70, 80 yards? That's this game. They're going to win this game. Book it.
all
Go
right.
G-Man.
All right, Woj.
You can
Well,
see it. It doesn't make any sense. This is it. This is maybe their one win this year. They're going to win it.
yeah, no, I can't argue with that. Maybe this is a sneaky over bet.
It very well might be. I could see that. I kind of
Yeah,
like that. You're
hammer it.
convincing me.
Alt 60. Alt 60.
Who knows, dude? With the way these guys' defenses played, yeah, that might hit easy in the first half.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, but I like it. I'm on the Commanders, Woj on the
Yeah.
Giants. We'll see how it
G-Man.
plays out.
Joke's on you because I have rights over our official pick'em video.
That's true. Now, next game, we have the Los Angeles Chargers. Um, Busted your pick with the Raiders. I was on it. I like Antonio Pierce a lot, but
Yeah,
Chargers looked solid in their first game
they did.
under Harbaugh. J.K. Dobbins, healthy, really played great in the backfield. rushing for over 100 yards. And Herbert didn't have to do anything too crazy. McConkey looked solid. I mean, really good opener, I thought, from the Chargers. And coming in here against the Panthers, who I was hoping would be much improved after last year. Did not appear that way at all, especially against a Saints team that I'm not high on. So
Nope.
it's impossible for me to bet on the Panthers in this one. So I'm on the Chargers -6.5. I'm going with a lot of favorites, but I just can't sell myself betting on Bryce Young. He has not pulled it together yet to this point.
No. And I don't think I would take the 6.5. Definitely not taking +6.5 for the Panthers, but hard to even look at this game and say you think the Panthers are going to win. Of course, I'm on the Chargers. I love just in week one, it might be an overreaction, but I love the makeover quickly that Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman have brought in this offense. Justin Herbert only threw the ball 26 times. He only got 144 yards, and yet they were effective in winning the game. Partially was some great play on their defense, but I love the commitment to the run game, and I love the schemes they got to get, let's call it average to below average talent at running back with Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins to have them be extremely effective in this run game. I bet you they do something extremely similar against this Panthers defense that showed they couldn't stop either facet of offense for the Saints. If they want to, they can unleash Justin Herbert and have him throw the ball around the field. But I have a feeling that they're going to give him a steady dose of the run game between J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, and that's going to be plenty. This is an extremely low total as well, when a big spread, implying they think the Panthers are going to put up very few points. If I can do this very quickly in my head, it's going to be like a 26 to 20. No, it's way too high. 24-18. Help me out here.
Yeah, like
It's still too high.
17,
Holy crap.
20. Yeah,
23 to 16-ish. Let's call it that. But they're saying that basically they're not even predicting the Panthers are going to put up 17 points here.
yeah. I mean, I don't think they are.
Can the Chargers do that? Yes, they can. Will they? Very likely if they commit to the run game. I like the Chargers here. I don't like the Chargers 6.5. I'll be flat out. I
Yeah,
don't like it with this low total.
yeah. The cover is quite a bit, especially with now the Chargers leaning more heavily on the run,
Yeah.
running the game out, not really trying to stack up the score as much.
Like Lad McConkey, who we're both high on long term. He was a leading receiver with 40 yards. So it's like you got to get these receivers more acclimated.
Yeah, no, definitely. New look offense in Los Angeles. Next game, two teams coming off of losses. Browns going to be on my no bet list now until they move on from Deshaun. That was terrible in that first
Yeah.
opener. But also against the Dallas Cowboys defense, you warned me, and I thought the Browns defense would at least be able to play at the same level, but that was not the case. They're heading up against the Jaguars, who played really solid against the Dolphins. Low scoring game. Uh, Neither offense could really get it going in a game that I thought would have been a high scoring matchup between um, really two good quarterbacks and a lot of good receivers on both ends. But I keep going with the favorite. I do think the Jaguars are going to win this game unless the Browns make a change at quarterback. But at the same time, I think I could be overreacting after week one, and the Browns just going up against a tough defense. Which way?
It's tough. I share your hesitancy to lean on either side because I do like the Jaguars team in general. I think they fought pretty hard against a good Dolphins team. And I think that have we ever seen Deshaun Watson really excel as the quarterback of the Browns? It certainly seems like his best days are behind him and that he's going to have a really hard time leading this team to victory. It's going to be much on the backs of their defense, which is possible this game when you see this low total. I'm on the Jaguars because I think they're a good team. I think they're elite fighting for the playoffs more so than the Browns are. I think they need to get a win at home as opposed to starting out 0-2 because we all know what happens to teams that start out 0-3. I like the Jags here. I think just because of the pure defense for the Browns, I would stay away from -3.5 and getting beat on the hook. But I do think that the Jags win this game by a field goal.
Yeah, no, I do think they're a solid pick here. It's just, yeah, can't go with Deshaun after that week one performance.
No, you can't. You can, but it's hard. It's
It's
really
tough
hard.
saying his best years are behind him for a quarterback that's 28 years old now.
Yeah.
I
No,
mean, unusual circumstances, but
the yips.
yeah. All right, next matchup. Um, Not positive, but maybe the largest spread of the week with
It is.
uh, the Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders, coming in as 9.5 point dogs against the Ravens. I like the Ravens to win this game, obviously, with such a large spread. Tough season opening loss against the Chiefs. Just lost by literally like
Couple
tongue
inches.
or whatever. Like Isaiah Likely was phenomenal. I feel like an absolute fool. One of my fantasy leagues, I picked up Mark Andrews and gonna
Yeah.
have to figure something out there. But the Ravens team, I thought they looked really good, even in the loss. I didn't expect the Chiefs to put up that many points, but yeah, I like the Ravens here for a lot of reasons, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. But the Raiders at plus 9.5, I think if this one can maybe get to 10, I would take the Raiders here at plus 9.5. They didn't put up a lot of points, but we're talking about it last year with how much better this team has been playing under Antonio Pierce. And they picked up a win against the Chiefs last year that nobody expected them to. I just think that's a lot of points for a Raiders team that has generally played better. The offense didn't show up against the Chargers, but I I think they could put up more than 10 points even on the road in this one.
Yeah. Yeah. I think those are fair points. Honestly, you convinced me a little bit. There's not a doubt in my mind that the Ravens win this game. 100% chance they win. Put the mortgage on it. They're winning this game. Like you would need you need Lamar Jackson and others to go down and just to play a horrendous game. I can't even imagine a scenario. Truly, I cannot where they lose this game. Um, under all realistic possibilities. But where you saw the Ravens struggle against the Chiefs was their offensive line, which is a rarity for them the last decade. But they lost a lot of key pieces on the O line and really being held down by the center, Linderbaum. But they got a lot of new guys, including rookies, that did not play well against the Chiefs, who, as we know, have a pretty solid D line led by Chris Jones. The Raiders got a great D line too, but you see Max Crosby there on the left and some other key guys in that line. They give the Ravens fits defensively and pressure Lamar Jackson, and that's how they can cover this game. Again, I don't think they really have a realistic shot of winning it, but I do see a scenario where they cover. If the Ravens can hold off Crosby, they're going to win this game by 30. Like if
Yeah.
they can either get the ball up quick and run all over him or block a little bit, just a little bit more effectively, and you do that also by getting a better run game out of Derrick Henry, then this game I think is going to be a blowout. I really do. But it can go both ways. And I think I lean more towards their offensive line struggling.
Yeah, I think Crosby played okay, but for the most part, Joe Alt really did a solid job in
Yeah.
this Chargers opener. So, but more than anything, for me, like I know Max Crosby's a great player. I think he's gonna come out with more of a revenge game in game two.
Yeah. I also think just Ravens defense smothers this game. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I could see a low scoring matchup, but we'll see what happens. Like you said, the Ravens could also just blow them out. All right,
Larry.
next matchup. I'll let you take this one. You can get this one off of.
Yeah, I'll just this spread shocked me. I think it's going to shock a lot of people. I think a lot of people look at this and see how hard fought that Rams game was in Detroit, and they think that this Rams team is the team to pick. I have to take the Cardinals here. They're the favorite at home against a divisional opponent, and not even that. It's the fact that I don't think if you polled 100 people that watched NFL Week One and said, "What do you think the spread of this game was?" I think zero people would have picked their Cardinals to be the favorite this game. Just don't think that is what people's takeaway was and their impression from each team was in Week One. And so that's why I love the Cardinals here. Again, I don't think this Bills defense is awful. It's definitely not as elite as it used to be, but it's a good defense, I think. Solid. and they were able to put up 28 points against them. Now they couldn't slow down Josh Allen. This Cardinals defense is not good. But you see this Rams team, the down Cooper Cup, they didn't put up a ton of points against the Lions defense that we talked about as shaky secondary. I think this is going to be a shootout game. Who know coin flip, who's going to win? I'm taking the home team of the Cardinals. But a shootout nonetheless. I think 50 is too few points in this game. It's gonna if the Rams are gonna want to win this, it's got to be a lot of Kyron Williams, both up the middle and out of the backfield, and then a lot of Cooper Cup, which we've seen. And even then, you're going to need some help with some other guys, like Robinson out of the wide receiver position too.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, it really is a coin flip, but I'm probably going with the Rams.
You have to.
Bills are on the road.
Not me, but
Whenever
you have.
Stafford's healthy, it's hard for me to go against them, especially when he has his connection with Cooper Cup. And I really thought the Rams did a solid job overall in the secondary. Didn't do great against Jameson Williams, but they definitely contained Laporta and Amon-Ra St. Brown last week. So for a Cardinals team who wants to lean a little bit more on the pass, I think the Rams at least won't get manhandled on the ground like they did in overtime.
So here's my question to you, and hopefully we have enough time for this. Why do you think the Cardinals are favored this game?
I mean, I thought they looked really solid in week one. I know they lost. They gave up the lead, but I almost attribute it more to like Josh Allen just kind of taking that game over. I do think the Cardinals are an improved team. They have more weapons. They also were pretty solid last year when Kyler was healthy. So I think you have a healthy Kyler. They didn't have him for all of last year. They were I think they were 1-8 when he wasn't playing last year. So
Yeah.
they're a much better team when he's on the field.
I'm with you though, like Matt Stafford and this Rams team. If one of these, I don't think the Rams are going to start 0-2. It's hard to believe that, but it happens to good teams every year. And again, I'm taking the division favorite at home, in a shootout game. I think it's gonna be a fun one to watch. It's gonna be a great game to watch. Unlike this next game we're about to talk about.
Yeah. Next game, we are also running super low on time, but we have the Pittsburgh Steelers coming in as a favorite on the road against Denver. Bo Nix kind of a shaky first performance with Denver, a couple turnovers, couldn't really drive the ball down the field. And the Steelers couldn't even record a touchdown. Or all their points were off of 6 field goals in the opening win against the Falcons. So really interesting matchup, but not one I'm super excited for. Do you have a particular way you're leaning?
Yeah, I mean, I want to take the Broncos here, but I can't do it because I think that the pass rush for the Steelers is really going to hurt Bo Nix. TJ Watt being the difference here, and just a little bit, slightly more leadership out of Justin Fields and that George Pickens combo that actually ended up being decent against the Cardinals. I think you get the Steelers to win here, maybe 7 field goals with this thin Denver error for Chris Boswell here. But I think I'll take the Steelers to win this one.
Yeah, too. But I'm with you. I can't ride with Bo Nix yet. I think it's going to be another tough day for him going against TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick,
Yeah.
Steelers defense. Really great playoff matchup just a couple of years ago. The Bengals look like they might be on a downtrend after a few Burrow injuries, or it could be an early overreaction after that loss to the Patriots last week. And the Chiefs with probably one of the most impressive wins of week one. It was a really close one, but it was a great game against the Ravens. Chiefs coming in at 5.5 point favorites. And I'm kind of surprised by this line, especially how both teams played last week. Kind of makes me afraid to take the Chiefs minus 5.5, although that's the way I'm leaning off the bet.
Yeah, it's definitely hard